Hey, what's going on, Akira Hunters? So in this video, I'm going to show you what it actually takes to go through the contract day of a Japanese real estate transaction. If you're thinking about buying property in Japan as a foreigner, this video is for you. So today I am in Chigasaki, the heart of Shonan in Kanagawa, less than an hour southwest of central Tokyo. I'm here because I'm representing an Akiha member who's buying a property around this area because they can't be here today because they live in California. I'm going to sign some contract documents on behalf of them. I have the power of attorney. We got the permission to film the entire process. And this is a very important part of the buying real estate process in Japan. Very excited to show you what it actually takes to go through the contract day. Let's go. All right, so the real estate agent's office is in this building. We're going to take the elevator. Let's see how much of this we can film and show you exactly what we go through in every contract signing day. Let's go. ありがとうございます。I came to this contract day with Morohashi-san, one of our partner agents who we work closely with. He represented us as the buyer's agent for this transaction. A lot of times we get to do contract signing at his office in Yokohama, but for this transaction, the seller insisted on doing it at their agent's office, and that's why we came to Chigasaki for this. Many small real estate agencies rent an apartment unit as their office. This one was no exception. First things first, I met with the seller's agent and then the representative from the seller's side. The seller for this transaction is a pretty big company, so a representative came for the contract signing. This is me exchanging my business card. Pro tip, make sure to give and receive business cards with both of your hands in Japan. And if you can bow at the same time, extra points if you're non-Japanese. So we're at the seller's real estate agent's office and we have the documents now. So the first document that we're going to go through is a 重要事項説明書. It's a statement of the important matters, and a licensed agent has to read this in front of the buyer or the representative. So we're going to go through this. It could take up to 30 to 45 minutes, and then after that I'm going to sign. It's all in Japanese. Yes, of course, there's no English. So this can be a pretty hectic process for a non-Japanese speaker. But that's why we're here. We make it easy. So this is probably the most formal way to read the contract documents. The seller, the buyer, and both agents. Sometimes it's just the buyer and the buyer's agent. Sometimes it's the buyer and the seller's agent without the seller's presence. The seller for this transaction happened to be a pretty large company, so they requested to do this as formal as possible. First, we read the 重要事項説明書 or 重説, aka property disclosure statement together. And this was led by the seller's agent, Yamada-san, who spoke pretty fast, but also very thorough.
建築確認検査済証等の交付年月日ということですが、平成18年8月8日に建築確認を提出して、
I said it was going to take about 30 to 45 minutes, but this actually took almost an hour. And I said this document can only be read by a licensed agent in Japan. You might be thinking, what do you mean, a licensed agent? Don't all real estate agents have a license in Japan? Well, actually, no. Technically, you can do a lot of things like an agent would, as long as you belong to a real estate brokerage that has licensed agents. Fun fact, a real estate brokerage company in Japan needs to have one licensed agent per 5 agents without a license. Yamada-san, the seller's agent, is a licensed agent, so he was able to read this document to us. As I mentioned earlier, I'm not the actual buyer of the property. I'm representing an Akiha member and signing all the documents that need to be signed on the contract day on behalf of the actual buyers. And this is what we do. Most buyers we work with cannot or do not want to be present on the contract day. So we get their power of attorney and sign documents for them. This way, we save their time and money. This is only one part of the purchase process, but we have designed our service so that you can go through this entire process remotely. But if you were to go through this process on your own, you would likely need to visit Japan at least 3 times. Once to view properties, another for the contract day, and one more time for the closing. That could be a lot of time and money just to travel to Japan to those occasions. And if you're purchasing jointly with your partner, that would be 2x. We save you time, money, and stress. It's only been a few minutes into this, but I'm already checking my watch. I already knew this might take longer than usual at this pace. So, how long does a contract day usually take? It usually takes about an hour and a half to 2 hours. Here's a breakdown. About 30 to 45 minutes to go over the property disclosure statement, depending on how thorough the agent wants to be. Another 30 to 45 minutes to go over the purchase process, and about 30 minutes to sign and seal all documents. During the property disclosure statement reading, the seller's side tries to share everything about the property. This property is surrounded by the nature, so the seller's agent was telling us that sometimes animals like monkeys and wild boars show up to the property. Also, here's something you might want to know. Once you close on the property as a non-resident, you need to assign a noze kanrinin or a tax manager who can officially pay your property taxes for you. This is especially important if you're buying an income-generating property. The seller's agent was asking who the noze kanrinin will be for the buyers. They plan to work with one of our partner property managers who can be a tax manager as well. Yamada-san is going through all documents related to the property, including the property survey, the original design plan, hazard maps, and construction permits. Very thorough. So we just went through this document and a bunch of other documents. We haven't gone through the contracts yet. It took about 50 minutes. Here are the documents from me proving that this is a registered Hanko, and this is to prove that my company is actually registered as well, so that they know we're a real company. And we're about to go through the purchase agreement, probably take another 30-40 minutes, and then start signing with my company's Hanko, registered Hanko. 25 minutes to go through the purchase agreement and other documents. So right now, about an hour and 15 minutes in, and now the real fun begins. I get to sign this many documents on behalf of our member, the buyers. So there are multiple copies. We'll see how many times I have to not just do this, but write both of their names, their addresses, one at a time. My company's address, my company's name, and this. So looks like there's probably 15 copies. We'll see how long it takes. Since my company had the power of attorney of the buyers, I handwrote my company's address, name, and my name, and then signed the buyers' addresses and names in each document. For this contract signing, there were 4 copies of the property disclosure statement, 重要事項説明書, 3 copies of the purchase agreement, 売買契約書, 2 copies of the brokerage agreement, 媒介契約書, 2 copies of the list of supplemental equipment, 付帯設備表, 2 copies of the property condition report, 物件状況報告書, and 1 copy of handling of customers' personal information, 個人情報取扱同意書. So that was a lot of signing. Okay. This is the last one. I don't know how many times I just printed my name and the buyer's names, but this is not done yet. I still gotta stamp 15 times or more. That was a lie. There was more. This is a 顧客カード. It's like a customer card to fill out their information one by one. Now it's Hanko time. We started with warin, which is a stamp applied on the side of the contract documents to certify that they contain the same content and to prevent tampering or substitution with copies. These usually are the hardest ones to seal because you need to apply more pressure to make sure the stamp is applied onto 2 different surfaces. This part usually hurts my hand. Now a little easier warin. Here, I'm doing the warin on the revenue stamp. If contract signing requires physical paper, you'll need to pay about 5,000 to 30,000 yen of stamp duty. It varies depending on the price of the property you're purchasing. The average buyer we help pays 10,000 yen for this. And finally, I got to stamp next to my company's printed name, one by one. For this, Monohashi-san was helping me guide where to stamp for each document, so it went pretty smoothly. Here's a question we get often. What if I don't have a Japanese Hanko? Should I create one? Well, if you're a non-resident, you don't need a Hanko. Or to be more specific, you can't use one. You have to be a resident of Japan to use a Hanko as an official seal because it needs to be registered at a local ward office or city hall. So you can't just get a random Hanko online or at a souvenir shop and use it as a seal for official documents like these. But no problem. You can just use your signature, the same one in your notarized affidavit. A notarized affidavit is a legal document that foreign buyers of Japanese real estate need when purchasing property in Japan. It's a sworn statement prepared in English or the buyer's native language and officially certified by a notary public of the country of your residence. Since foreign buyers usually do not have a Japanese residence record or identification, aka Juminhyo, the affidavit serves as proof of identity, address, and signature for the transaction. Japanese legal and financial institutions require it to ensure that the person buying the property is properly identified and authorized to buy the property. In short, it functions as a substitute for Japanese residency documents, making the purchase process legally valid and recognized under Japanese law. So where do you get an affidavit itself? It's something you'll receive as part of our home buying service. But if you're going through this process on your own, you can ask a bilingual judicial scrivener to create one for you for about $300. Now, let's talk about the earnest money deposit. Some sellers prefer receiving the earnest money deposit on the day of the contract day, right after all the documents have been signed. Others prefer to receive before the contract day. This seller requested the earnest money to be deposited the day before, so that's what we did for the buyers. Usually, the earnest money is up to 10% of the purchase price. We got the money from the buyers beforehand, so my company transferred the money to the seller on behalf of the buyers the day before. After the payment was made, the seller confirmed the receipt of the earnest money. Now the contract day is officially completed. Next up is the closing day, aka handover day. This is when the buyers send the rest of the money to the seller, the broker fee to the buyer's agent, and the title change fee to the judicial scrivener. In return, they will get the keys to the property and they take possession of the property. じゃあどうもありがとうございました。
大丈夫ですか？
According to the statistics, only 26% of you actually subscribe to my channels. So I would really love it if you can hit the subscribe button and subscribe so that we can reach out to more people who might need to get this information and enjoy this content. And if you do that, I'll make a promise that we're gonna make our content better. We're gonna allocate more resources to make each one of our videos better every single week. So that's my promise to you. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Thank you. All right, so that's it. That is the contract day for Japanese real estate transaction. Took over 2 hours, 2 hours and 5 minutes for the whole thing. Yeah, we still have the closing. That was the hardest part, I would say, of the purchase process. So contract day, once contract day is done, 99.9% of the time, it'll go through. We just gotta wait for the closing day, send the money, get the keys, and that's it. For this deal, the closing is gonna happen pretty quickly. It's gonna happen in 2 weeks, but that's not pretty typical. It actually took quite a bit from the offer accepted to the contract day. So we did the hard work up front, and that's why the closing can happen pretty quickly. But typically, usually takes about, I would say, 4 weeks or so, a few weeks from contract date to closing. Anyway, so that was what it takes to go through the contract day, signing day of Japan real estate. I hope you enjoyed it. I know it's a lot. So if you don't want to do this yourself, we can help. And that's what we do. So you can visit us at akihab.com. If you want to do it alone, that's great. Just know that you're going to have to come to Japan multiple times to view properties, to make offers, to do the contract day, and then to do the closing, to get the keys. So just remember that. Hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you did, I think you're going to like this video as well. So watch this next for more. And be sure to subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in the next one.